We're in new moon energies. So let's see what guidance we need for you right now. You know, you're setting intentions with new moon. You've come out of a period, a cycle of release, right? So that you can create this space to set these intentions. I'm hearing never letting go, gaining courage, and stay. Okay, 7 of Swords and the 7 of Cups. You know what's really interesting? I've been feeling this really heavy energy coming into this reading. I think that you need to like really cleanse and protect your energy right now. I think that's, I'm hearing deceptive thoughts, deceptive behaviors. It's kind of like not wanting to tell you what they've done. I don't know why I've said it in that way. Maybe it's the other way around, but fear of being rejected, but also recognizing how they hurt you and hurt themselves in the process. And okay, we've got the Queen of Wands here, and then we've got the 10 of Pentacles. This Queen of Wands, this feminine energy, is glowing in her light. She is so abundant. That's what's coming through with this energy, like massively. But she's been deceived and betrayed is what's coming through. And the Lovers underneath there, and then the 2 of Cups as well, and the 3 of Swords. There's definitely been heartbreak, betrayal, and hurt here, okay? I'm hearing the thing with this divine feminine energy is she's just been glowing up, which is good, because I feel like there's something here about recognizing that, you know, the majority of the population do not come from secure attachment, right? You have to learn secure and safe love and relationships. Now that includes your relationship with romantic sexual partners, platonic, familial, all kinds of connections and relationships, but also it reflects in your relationship with things like with money, with food, with loyalty, with your values, right? It's interesting, no matter where someone's heart is, you know, whether it's in a place of love or not, their trauma will always be hiding in the shadows if they've not addressed it, okay? The Hermit, look at that, hiding in the shadows, right? Seeing the truth, the Magician. I think there's this energy of wanting to go inwards. That Magician is giving that, creating those new intentions that we mentioned. There's this energy of wanting to go inwards, Ace of Swords, to really, the Devil at the bottom of the deck, clear through the fears. Right now is what I'm hearing. Clear through the negativity. Sometimes it's your own thoughts that can truly betray you, okay? So again, going back to that energy of kind of, you have to learn what it means to be in a secure relationship. And, you know, you start that by learning how to trust yourself. Once you can trust yourself by keeping your promises to yourself, if you will, or just, again, the Devil at the bottom of the deck. Once you learn to trust yourself, you can release that need for external control, or that kind of survival mode where you're constantly waiting for something negative to happen and for hurt to happen, okay? Ace of Cups here and the Death card. I do think that you've experienced a lot of, generally, just like your heart has had to heal so much with this Star, with these deceptions and betrayals, but also these endings that left you confused with so many questions. And this could be from a very young age. So you've really had to kind of find your light, right? No matter how you shine, because you can't lure or manipulate anybody into staying or being with you, okay? Because on a divine level, when you're in your divine alignment, which is the truest place of the highest manifestation, if that's the right word, right? That's when you're calling in your best self. That's when you're aligning with your kind of divine light, which is what's coming through with this reading, especially with that Queen of Wands energy, okay? The Devil really wants to come out. There's really something happening right now where, oh, and the Tower, oh, and the 2 of Swords, okay, there's definitely, it feels like there's an indecision here. I'm hearing that the cycles of self-betrayal, of hurt, are closing out, of temptations, are what someone is finally facing, so that they can finally clear through this, and it no longer causes destruction and chaos every time they want to build and create something new. Okay, the Star did want to come out there. Justice at the bottom of the deck. I think someone needs to bring justice to a situation is what I'm getting. It's like righting a wrong, Page of Swords. Yeah, much more clarity as these kind of, all these different energies and all of this in their mind is being cleared through, finally being released. There's a transformation taking place where someone's mindset is completely transformed and is allowing this balance to finally come through, okay? Balance within oneself, therefore, again, bringing that balance to whatever situation is outside of you. Ace of Pentacles and Ace of Wands. Yeah, so much more grounded energy here. Whereas before, somebody was so lost in their thoughts and in their fears. It's kind of like they're understanding how to kind of finally get a hold of that. And I feel like there's somebody they're kind of removed, if it was like an addiction or like something, they would always fall into this darkness, which then just spiraled and they end up being in this like vicious cycle. That's what's being cleared through. Someone's finally finding some kind of, I'm seeing like a seed, some kind of new ground where they can do things differently from a much more healthy space. Then we've got the 10 of Cups and the Page of Wands. This tells me that this is exactly the action they need to take in order to finally be in that space where they feel confident enough to make this decision towards their heart's happiness, and something that they're really wanting to rush into, to be honest. There's this energy of kind of clearing through the wounding and the hurt beneath the surface right now, so that actually they can finally see what they desire is actually in their divine alignment, and that is what they want to call in. So they're in that space. Energetic feels like an energy that goes into a cycle of self-betrayal, okay? But this is something that's finally being addressed and seen, and instead of kind of falling victim to their own kind of sabotage, they're seeing it, they're stepping back and they're understanding it. There's clearly been a cycle that they've been going through here where they've been seeing like this 8 of Wands energy, 8 of Swords, 2 of Pentacles. That just keeps them back and forth with this like wanting to move forward but then getting stuck again in this 5 of Swords, this internal conflict, this headache. I feel like they're it's like this energy of what is the energy that I'm moving forwards with. 6 of Cups and the 3 of Swords. Again, that confirmation that they've just, every time they've wanted to start fresh, has been like this sudden upheaval, this like pain that has come through, right, of the heart, because it hasn't been healed through. And finally, it's being healed through. The Empress and the Justice card at the bottom of the deck, okay? I feel like this could be you closing out this kind of, this cycle of feeling the abandonment wound, and finally making that decision to move towards your happiness, towards your truth, surrendering and understanding that actually you are on the path of your I'm hearing like your highest version, right? Which is really beautiful. You're calling in what you desire, but what you're realizing is that you can't have those guards and barriers up, right? So that when what wants to come through comes through, there is no kind of juggling with the, oh, but what about this? Oh, but what about that? It's actually just you're in a space where your heart is kind of ready to have the right conversations, to move from that space of like love and forgiveness. There's much more light-hearted energy here. I think that there is a playful energy in the background, but it's just there's been so much heaviness that it's kind of like been overlooked. Okay, getting to know each other and very soon. And separation at the bottom of the deck as well. Whatever it was that caused the separation, it's that, like the feelings and the triggers of whatever those wounds were, that is being cleared through now, right? So you can finally get into that space where you can understand why this had to happen. Trust. Again, I think you're learning to trust yourself, which is why you're learning to trust the process, because you're understanding that no matter what, you can handle it. You've handled this. Make the effort, and you're ready now to make the effort for whatever it is that needs to come through, without it being kind of this this template that you've been taught. You know, it's not, you know, give this relationship a chance. Exactly. Codependence. I feel like there was this energy of you didn't realize that someone was so traumatized they couldn't show up for you. When I say traumatized, they clearly hadn't healed through something really deep within themselves, so they couldn't show up for you the way you wanted. But the way you wanted them to show up for you would have been from a place of like attachment and codependency. So you've actually been learning safe and secure love that I've mentioned, that relationship, that new attachment style, which is actually allowing somebody to come through in their truth, in their authenticity. So you can both actually make the effort here and start a clear cycle. This definitely feels like a divine feminine energy that doesn't want the past to repeat itself, but you're understanding that actually what happened in the past happened for a reason, that couldn't develop and flourish into that beautiful divine love because it wasn't at that space, right? It was just something that needed to come together in order to trigger you both into the shake up and the wake up, so that whatever was beneath the surface, keeping you in attachment, addiction, fears, anything that would have held on to each other in a way that wasn't healthy and secure, that was kind of what was revealed. So you could finally understand that and release that and clear that out and heal through that, right? From the head space and from the heart space, okay? Stay optimistic. Yes, learn to stay optimistic here. And passion. Don't create red flags where there aren't any. Really important. Yes, understand where things do need to be addressed and looked at clearly. Especially if there's something about the past coming through, unrequited love, right? This is a kind of energy where it's like, I feel like, you know, I mentioned that abandonment, new love, that's a new love cycle that I mentioned, separation. So there has been a separation, yes, but don't think that it was because there wasn't attraction, because it was way more deeper than that. There was way more beneath the surface and with you that needed to be addressed so that you can come through in that, again, that divine feminine energy. Unconditional love, she's compassion, right? She's like the truest example of divine love, truly. Her heart space is kind of like a gift straight from divine for the world to learn from, right? Which is why it's so important for you right now to clear through whatever this heavy and dark energy is so that you can stay optimistic and positive, okay? Your hard work is paying off. You have been clearing through so much. Perhaps you'll be shown things that you don't want, that's fine, because now you're at a space where you see that. So whatever comes forward and what you allow is going to be, you're going to be able to recognize it as what you do want, okay? Don't let pride get in your way. Really important message for this. Sometimes it can be too easy, especially in the way society is these days, to look outside of yourself for red flags, okay? Now, this isn't about being overgiving or people pleaser. That needs to be healed, right? But there is something about taking accountability in that, you know, sometimes it is that somebody genuinely has certain feelings for you. How much have you allowed them the space to be their true authentic self without needing to put kind of a template on them, expectations, conditions on them, okay? Because you can still hold unconditional love and allow someone to fly just as they will allow you, right? There's that freedom. Be bold and make the first move. A new romantic cycle begins. So I feel like this is kind of, I'm hearing like a warning message. So like when this comes through, you're more prepared. You're recognizing everything that you've been doing, the healing that you've been doing, so that you can, when this comes through, if there's triggers and suddenly your head and your heart goes to a space where there's more darkness and you're thinking too much, you're ruminating on kind of the stuckness of the past, like the past versions of you, it's easy to fall into that. You can draw yourself back again and have a pause and recognize, hold on a second, what are the fears that are showing up? Your dreams need a practical plan, okay? So I feel like if there's something about whatever this is coming into fruition in like your reality, hold your vision. I think this is something that's so important, especially with this like new moon setting intentions energy. I think you have been holding your vision, time to take action. However, now there's time to actually bring it into that physical reality very soon, right? And now it's going to be like, okay, so how much have you been preparing, you know, because you have been. That's the thing you need to remember. The cycles that come back around in your headspace where you're fearing that there's going to be hurt, there's going to be deception, or the love wasn't reciprocated, whatever happened. It's time to kind of clear through that and see from the other perspective, because there is other perspectives as well. And when you learn to trust yourself, you clear out all those the egoic kind of fears, desires, etc. You recognize them when they come up, your shadows. You can really listen to that inner voice, which will tell you what you need to know. Your energy can detect another person's truth, their energy. Your emotions will be felt inside your body. I honestly feel like somebody in the past saw your worth way more than you realized, to the point where they were experiencing some things in the dark that they didn't speak on, addictions specifically, and just situations like that, and they could not bring that to you. They saw your light. I think they saw it way more than you did. New beginnings and a fresh start. Decide to be happy now. God. You know, sometimes some people feel so deeply that they feel so vulnerable in their emotions, and they've never known safety in that it can be so triggering and so hurtful to allow themselves to be vulnerable in any kind of space, right? Self-respect. Once you learn to respect yourself in situations, you can also understand why others will want to respect themselves if they hold their boundaries too. Does that make sense? It's time to leave this unhealthy situation. And I honestly think that's all of this. I'm seeing the devil there with the tower that came out, the Seven of Swords. It's this constant self-betrayal cycle. You know, no one else has come out. This is the Queen of Wands and the Empress. This is all happening within, right? Positive thought. And I feel like you might be going down a bit of I'm hearing downward spiral, like mentally, and maybe that's something that maybe you get anxiety and depression, that kind of thing. This is time for you to recognize that before it gets too deep, and in a sense, and recognize it comes from when you were younger, when you were in a child, right? Sense of humor. There's this energy of kind of bring some playfulness again with that playfulness card, right? Protect your energy. Really important to cleanse your energy right now. So important. Protect yourself. To bring back like that light-hearted energy within yourself. I feel like you might be creating something really heavy and dark within, at least that feminine energy within you isn't able to kind of just flow, which is what she does when she's in that beautiful state. Be gentle with yourself, right? She knows self-care, self-love, self-respect. I also feel like there's something about recognizing the innocence outside of you as well, yeah? In kind of other people, and knowing that they are also operating from the inner child sometimes. So we've got focus on divine and perfect health, detach from the situation. Your inner guidance is real and trustworthy. I think you're doubting yourself, you're questioning yourself, which is then in turn doubting and questioning the external, the connection that wants to come through. You're wondering whether it's something that's trustworthy, when actually it's more trustworthy than you realise. But you have to recognize that within yourself, so that when this comes through, there's no like sabotaging energies, behaviors, right? I think that you just really need to take care of yourself right now. It's okay, you know, to not be perfect and ready for everything that comes into your life. It's happening for a reason. There's a greater purpose here, right? You're being shown right now the beautiful kind of ways in which you can finally close out any doubt and indecision. Full intimacy. I think this is about you really deeply connecting with yourself now, so that you can, because I feel like what you do really desire is that deep intimacy, that full intimacy, and seeking pleasure. Again, doubt and indecision at the bottom of the deck. I think there's this energy of you're concerned, just, you know, you don't want to be used and abused is what I'm hearing, just for kind of lust reasons or whatever. And maybe that's how you felt in the past, right? But again, I feel like there's way more to these situations. Kind of, you have a lot of sexual energy, and she's really beautiful, because that's what's allowing you to be in that kind of, you know, the divine feminine empress energy. She is creation. That's what she knows how to do best. She creates, she nurtures. The sweetest taboo, and then Eros and Thanatos, that's to do with endings and like death, and this is memories and remembrance. So I think that what happened in the past when you were left in longing and desire, something ended way faster than you expected, and it felt like it was just like this seeking pleasure energy, right? With this new cycle in love, you need to recognize what it is that allowed you to act in certain ways that you don't want to repeat the cycle now, right? So when you see yourself triggered within, or even responding in certain ways where it's just like there's no boundaries or there's no self-respect, you need to rewire that, bring that back in, right? Not from a harsh space, not from a guards at walls of ice heart space, right? This is about stepping into your warmth, because you've been learning how to love yourself. You've been recognizing that beautiful divine light within you, right? You've been shining that outside of you. Now it's time to really bring that into your connection, into your situation, because I feel like I said, this is somebody who saw your light way more than you did, for sure. It is an energy of you closing out your own cycles of the past, in order for you to keep an open mind with what's coming through, right? So that when it does come through, if you do feel triggered, you can instantly recognize that without reacting straight away, okay? There's a new path opening. There really is. This new love, this new cycle. And then we've just had the King of Cups come out as well. Somebody wants to bring an offer forward. It's just about, I'm not going to lie, just the message that's coming through is just don't sabotage it, right? Now, that doesn't mean that, you know, you're not going to do anything that you're not ready for at the end of the day, right? Whatever happens for a reason. It's all learning, right? The Chariot and the Lovers here. Again, this opportunity for forward movement with whatever it is that's in your heart space, but you need to release the energies of the past. That includes your energies, includes this person's energy. So if they had kind of connections and relationships at that time, okay, we've got the Two of Cups and the Eight of Wands. That's really beautiful. And then the Fool as well, okay? There's this energy on the Emperor and the Sun and the Strength card. Okay, there's definitely an energy of a new cycle that has potential, but it's all going to depend on how you now respond, how you now receive this, versus any stories you're making up in your head, anything that you're still holding on to in your heart. And if these are the case, which is okay, don't pretend it's not, because that's just adding, like, just bearing on top of it. You don't want to do that. You want to unearth it. You want to address it. You want to say, okay, hold on, let me just take a step back so I can see what's happening here. Now, don't sabotage it. Be honest with your person. Be honest with them. That's the best thing you can do from that loving space. It's really important. A message here is, don't act like this hasn't affected you. Don't act like you're not affected when this comes through. Don't take this too lightly whilst you're, like, behind the scenes, you know, all of this is happening. It's time to release negativity. There's going to be this need to to, again, I think maybe in the past you weren't allowing yourself to be vulnerable. This is where things are going to have to change. Nothing will come of this situation. That's come out with the negativity card. Don't let the past hold you back. Expect powerful changes. There's change in these circumstances. Communication is key. Now it's all about how much are you going to allow yourself to stay stuck in the past, the situation stuck in the past, versus how much are you ready to flow forwards and be honest with whatever still is processing, whatever still needs to be healed, right? Remember, endings happen for a reason, for way more aligned, divinely aligned beginnings to come through. And that does mean that sometimes it can be the same person, okay? But more than anything, you're actually not the same people as who you were before you've changed. Remember that, okay? Let me know if this reading is for you. Sending so much love. Look after you.